Uh, she won me over immediately. It was just when Impact Wrestling, they were still known as Impact Wrestling for like a month. They'd done their announcement that, hey, we're TNA again. And I was treated to seeing her, Joe Hendry, as they were breaking up. You know, they weren't just TNA people anymore. They were a movement. And Jordan Grace, since the moment I was able to see her, I was like, this is a star right here.
Yeah.
I kind of feel the opposite with Jade Cargill. I'll be honest. Where do you sit with her? Like I know some people are a little bit divided on if she's great. And I personally, I think, yeah, look, in AEW, she was there and she was protected. In WWE, she was protected for a while, but I think she's been exposed, in my opinion. What do you make of her?
He reminds me of a creator wrestler you would do on like a WWE game when they first start out. They look great, but the
Yeah,
stats aren't there.
yeah,
And she's been in AEW and now she's in WWE. And the ring set has not changed. Nothing, her in-ring ability has not gotten better. I'm not saying it's gotten worse, but it sure as hell hasn't gotten any better. And it's
yeah,
one of those things is like, why are we pushing this particular, and it could be a male or female in general, but why are we pushing this person to the top? Man, her promos are not that great. Her in-ring ability is mid at best. Why are we pushing her? Is it because of her physique? I mean, what is it? And I don't, and I get so much hate from people on social media. Oh, you don't like her because of this, because I just don't like her. I don't think she fits the mold of what they're looking for. And if you can't cut a promo and you can't do the stuff in the ring that everybody else is doing that has less time in the ring than you do, you might want to think about a career choice or a career change. I just don't get it.
yeah. No, that's fair. It's one of those things where they haven't moved on. They're not able to move on, and it just seems like we're stuck in this holding pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know what that means going forward for WDB. Like obviously they split the women's division up. I made a mistake earlier on. I said we got a title change with the tags. I meant with the US. That was the title match that we were talking about. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know where WWE will go with her because in in the past you'd have a robust women's division that you could pull from. And yeah, look, would some of the girls get a bit screwed if they weren't able to get a spot and they kind of wrestle for no reason. But when you start introducing more belts, someone has to defend them and someone has to hold them, and they have to mean something. One of the biggest criticisms of AEW is that they have way too many belts, and that's true. They do. They have way too many belts, and they don't mean anything. WWE though, having the US women's title, I haven't seen a justification for it yet, and it's for stuff like this, where it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like, look, Alexa, obviously she's getting on. She wants to, you want to kind of build the future and that, and having Julie in there is a good shout. But when you have someone holding it who's just kind of like, ugh, and it's going to go back and forth between her and Jordan Grace, they write themselves in the corner here, and it is because, well, someone has to hold the belt, someone has to chase the belt. What do you think about that?
It's kind of like what AEW did at the very beginning when they were having their little tournament for who would be the first AEW championship. They put it on an established star to give it credibility.
Hmm.
Same thing with these two belts. They gave it to Chelsea Green and they gave it to Lara Valkyria, two up and coming superstars.
Hmm.
Now, if we could rewrite history, I would have put that US title on someone like Charlotte or Alexa to
Hmm.
give it said credibility. That way, okay, cool. You know, it's another stepping stone in their career, but it also helps justify having that title. And on Raw, you could have given it to Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. Of course, Becky Lynch currently has it now. I
Hmm.
mean, you need to have somebody who's established to give that belt credibility. And then down the line, you start making it a workhorse, both intercontinental and US. And the fact that, but then again, Chelsea Green, I've been reading online that they had her drop that US title because they're talking about giving her a big push this year.
I was really impressed with Chelsea Green. I somehow became a huge Chelsea Green fan, and I didn't realize I was a huge fan until I was sitting in the SSE arena last year, and she came out and did her stick, and I'm like, It's brilliant. She's fantastic. So that doesn't shock me at all. But again, it's they have a really good women's roster, but it's not a
They do.
deep roster. It's not a deep roster, right? And what I mean by that is obviously there's less women in there than men. So until that gets resolved, you're still going to have this thin problem. And I don't know. Part of me, I understand why they can't do it for many reasons, but part of me just wants them to have one women's title and one like US women's title, because at least in that way, it's like right, you have a much better mix, you know. But then again, it's either a case of you stack your deck, you stack your champion versus challenger, or you have women wrestling for no real reason. I know obviously you should make your story better, but at the same time, it's just like you can if you give them something to chase, it's an easy way forward. So it's you know you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Really, you go down the AEW route of giving everyone a title, or you go down WDB where sometimes it can feel a bit thin. And I'm still on the fence to see which one I actually prefer. But definitely, I think the women who have the belts at the moment, um, if they're not the right ones, they're definitely on the path. Because Jordan Grace, when she does get that big win, that's going to be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
When and I think that's what we're building up for. When Julia does lose the belt, I don't know to who yet. We'll see. Oh yeah, that'll be a big moment as well. So, but she's doing a great job at the moment. I have to say, I can't really complain about her at all. Um, so I'm not going to. Here,
Yeah.
a cool thing that happened during the week, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it because it just happened. Mark Cardona is back, and not Zack
Yes.
Ryder. Mark Cardona is back. Were you a Zack Ryder fan? Were you around when he was doing the whole thing, or did you watch
Oh
any of his
yeah.
King of
I
Deathmatch
was
stuff?
I was at WrestleMania 32 when he had that God, it was like 8 dudes in a intercontinental ladder match where he won it, and then the very next night he lost it to the Miz.
Yeah.
Like they just totally robbed him of that WrestleMania moment pretty quick. But yeah, I've been a Zack Ryder slash Matt Cardona fan for quite a while now.
And look, I'm really glad that he came back. But it was weird that he didn't come. Like I know a couple of weeks ago, he was in the John Cena tournament. And he came back with his Zack Ryder gear and his music. But this is kind of cool because it's like, for me, this is like the Drew McIntyre thing, where he went off, he proved himself, and now he gets to be this higher tier. Now, will he be winning the WWE title anytime soon? Probably
Probably
not.
not. No.
But here's the thing: I don't think he'll be a joke. He could end up in the US sphere, and I don't think he'll be in the tag division for very long. Because to be honest with you, that's literally just part of one of the best feuds, which we'll get to in a second. Um, at the moment, that's red hot. But Mark Cadona's future in WWE looks really, really bright, and that's not something that I expected to say in 2026. I do have to say, I love the little backstage segment where every time people mention Cody, the crowd booed him.
You know, it's funny you say that because when the
Hilarious.
very beginning of SmackDown, when they were introduced, they showed Drew walking outside Germany in the snow, and people were like, "Yay!" And they showed Cody, and it was like, it was very, very underwhelming. And I'm watching it, going, "Oh wow, people! I'm not the only one."
No, no. And as I said, when I posted the show last week, I took some shorts, and everyone's just like, "Yeah, he's mid, he's mid, he's bad, he's bad," and it's just like, yeah, at least they listened. They
Yeah,
didn't. They didn't just force it. And I think if Vince had been around or whatever, they would have just forced it. But they're like, no, look, this isn't working. We need to correct here because then he becomes damaged property, and there's not really much you can do. So if Cody is away for a while, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So
yeah. And the
we'll
same
see.
can be said about Jey Uso as well, because he had
Yes.
that push the beginning of last year, and then it kind of like, well, let's put him back with his brother. Oh, and you know
Mhm.
what? Let's make them tag team champions and let them run with that.
Yeah. No, I think
So
that was the smartest move they could do.
yeah, big time.
Jey Uso's wall has been hit severely, so he needs a bit more time to cook. Or even if he stays in the tag division, people seem a lot happier with what they have now with the Usos than they did when he was on top. They still get the entrance, but he isn't trying to kill himself every
Yeah.
by missing suicide dives. Um,